Legends, in this episode of Rucking Good, I have a thought-provoking chat with Bruce Craig. Bruce is a former architect turned vegan entrepreneur and now tech innovator. He shares his journey from designing retail spaces in New Zealand to creating a vegan fast food franchise and now diving headfirst into the cutting-edge world of virtual reality. This episode is a glimpse into the future and how fitness, technology, nature, conscious living can all work together to reshape our health for the better. Hope you enjoy. So we're at the Botanical Gardens in Melbourne, and this is actually the first of two potties I'm doing here. So I'm meeting up with Cam Falloon tomorrow morning from BFT. I don't know if you've seen those, they're a gym franchise.
Yes.
Yeah, so he was the dude who started it. And I'm catching up and I said, where do you want to go for a walk? And he's like, oh, my favourite place is the tan. I went, oh yeah, cool.
Oh, you get 2 weeks at it.
But it looks like it's big enough that I could spend a week here and probably not see all the trails.
Yeah, I mean, the TAM itself goes around the domain and it's like I think it's 3.6k thing, but it's obviously, it's got timers on it. You'll see as we walk around and people's records and everything. It's got a really cool. Yeah.
So how cool is that?
It is
like,
cool.
so for like the fastest times over certain distances.
Fastest men, fastest women, all that sort of stuff.
Oh, that's wicked.
Of the day. And then in the domain is just, like it's beautiful. It's all the botanical stuff and ponds and
it's definitely
birds.
A nice part of the world. So we're catching up today to talk, well, it's kind of a two-pronged attack. I was showing you the rocks and you're going to demo a headset, which is XR workout, which is, how would you best explain XR workout?
Well, it's a full body workout that is driven and gamified inside your VR headset. So it moves you in ways that other exercise programs don't, and that you'll be getting down for burpees, you'll be doing your push-ups and sit-ups all the time with cues coming at you to make you move and record your progress. And it's unique in that way, and it's got a few other unique parts to it as well, which I'm excited. So yeah, I'm part of the rollout in this part of the world and excited to get in front of people.
Yeah, nice. And before we dive too much into XR workout as a futuristic exercise modality, give me a bit of a rundown on you, because you were involved in a franchise that I know about, and I don't know why, like it has come into my ecosystem at some point, but give us a little bit of the Bruce Craig story.
Sure. Yeah, I'll get to the franchise bit in a minute. I guess if I start, like my early life was spent training to be an architect. So and then I became an architect and was an architect for, I don't know, 20 or 30 years, doing stuff all over New Zealand. But as well as that, at the same time, I'd become vegan 30 years ago now. So I mean, I'm in my mid to late 50s. Leave it there. And I've been vegan since my sort of mid 20s, which is a pretty interesting time to become a vegan in New Zealand, especially. There was really not a lot of scope. So, and the other part is I've always been involved in some level of sport and fitness, but we can talk about that later. But in the meantime, I got to an age where I'd done achieved a lot of things in that design world, right through to designing big interiors for cinemas and chains of retail outlets, and I was just ready for a change. And then I picked up the Lord of the Fries franchise for New Zealand.
Lord of the Fries.
That's the one. Which is a Melbourne institution, vegan fast food, and I tried it over here. Really enjoyed what it was trying to do, which was really not preach about being vegan, but just provide really good fast food that everyone's familiar with, and
but had a vegan slant in it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's like really good food.
So it wasn't just about chips.
Nah.
Because I would have thought based on the name that it was a chippy.
The name does sort of confuse a few people. So it's burgers, hot dogs, shakes, sides, the whole 9 yards that you'd find in any fast food joint.
Yeah.
But all veganized. So it wasn't health food. It was healthier, but it was definitely.
Yeah, but
Definitely.
it didn't need to, like, realistically, it just gave vegans a chance to have a cheat meal, right?
Yeah, but also, yes, definitely the vegans thronged to Lord of the Fries, but omnivores who are trying to reduce or have a day off meat or or have their cheat day less damaging perhaps to themselves or to the planet. There's a whole, obviously, philosophical bent that I could.
Yeah, and I guess it would be a little bit of try it before you buy it if someone was kind of interested in veganism, that they could go and sample some of your wares before making a call.
Committing. And that's actually one of the things that we did. Like, we'd put, Beyond Meat is a big American company that's, I think, had a market cap of about $1 billion at one point. It's probably dropped down now, but it was, people don't know what to do with it. How do I cook it? What do I do with it? So they'd come in and we'd have an upgrade in one of our burgers. They could get one of those patties and they could try it out, and if they go, wow, that was amazing, hopefully they'd pick it up. And
did you give them a take-home option, or was it purely takeaway?
No, we were just purely takeaway.
Yeah, and were you doing was your menu full of the not meat, like to make a hamburger look like a traditional hamburger? Yeah. Right.
So we had chicken, fish, beef burgers. We had a Parma burger. We had, like a Big Mac burger, which was called a Biggie, which had 2 layers. So we had, everything like that.
Yeah.
And it was great until it wasn't. Until COVID came along, and everyone's, and in New Zealand in particular right now, it's very much a depressed economy where people's discretionary spending is pretty much dried up.
Yeah.
High interest rates, high cost of living.
They've definitely put the squeeze on, and I guess when that happens, you do with the stuff that you can do without, which obviously takeaway food is a bit of a luxury.
Especially ours. I mean, we're not at the lowest. Our price point wasn't down at the McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
Burger King level.
You weren't doing $6 Happy Meals.
Nah, couldn't quite do that. And there's a whole political story about how they were able to do that. But we also probably we shouldn't go there either. But
we should get into a fat tax.
Yeah, we should
talk all about that.
Fat tax. Well, actually, and subsidies for farmers who produce beef and don't pay their greenhouse gas damage. Theoretically, there's lots of things that could change in the way that food is produced in the world, because obviously we've got an obesity epidemic and a heart disease epidemic. New Zealand itself has got one of the highest death from heart disease rates in the world. Australia's not far behind, and South Africa, those heavy meat eating countries and dairy countries. So there's a lot of reasons why you could argue to put a tax on meat rather than subsidise it.
Yeah, well, I'm not anti-meat. Like, I think if it's farmed regeneratively, if it's like, I'm not into meat farms or whatever. What do they call them? The factory farming.
Factory farming.
Yeah, I like, if I'm going to have a nice meat, like if I'm going to have a piece of steak, it's going to be an organic grass-fed. It's going to cost me $20, but I'm going to really enjoy it, and I might only have it once a week instead of having. And I think
that's where meat's going to end up. To be fair, because the population growth in the world, producing protein is obviously what we need to do, and animals aren't a great. If you just look at purely economically, they're just not a great method for growing protein in terms of the efficiency on the land, in terms of the energy they expend, and obviously the gases they off gas when they're building your protein. So you can get much better protein from growing peas or from chickpeas or those sorts of things, and then convert them to a plant-based meat. So I think that's going to change, and people are going to be doing, as you're saying, having selected meat on certain days, but it's going to be at a higher price point because if they want that grass-fed outdoor meat, and if they...
And it tastes better too. If I'm going to... I don't think I would... if I was eating a factory farm $5 piece of meat from Coles, I'm not going to enjoy it. I'd just be eating it just to hit your protein macros or whatever. But for me, I enjoy having a steak, but I enjoy having a nice quality steak. And like I said, if I'm only having it once a week, then that's all I'm having it.
Yep. And those meats you're buying in the those cheaper factory farm stuff, you also don't know what you're getting.
I know,
there's no ingredient list, if you like, because they just call it beef. But actually, a lot of stuff's gone into the animal to have that on that table. So.
Yeah, I bet.
But I tell you, it was interesting. I listened to Joe Rogan. I don't know if you listened to it. Russell Crowe interview the other day.
No, I haven't heard that one. I do listen. He is on my rotation,
Yeah,
but I didn't get that one.
They're so long. His
Yeah, I know, right?
But Russell Crowe was an interesting guy, and obviously he was born in New Zealand, but then ended up over here. But he has a farm where he grows really high-end beef products.
Yeah, it's up near Coffs Harbour or so, or Port Macquarie.
Yeah, somewhere up there.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going tomorrow, Coffs Harbour.
Oh, there you go.
But he was talking about the same thing, you know, like the looking after the animal and treating it well, and not having it adrenalized when it goes to be slaughtered in those horrible factory farms and things.
Yep.
Just get a better quality of meat and
it's also the soil debate, right? Like,
yes,
if you can do regenerative farming, have cows that are wandering the paddock, pooping, farting, doing all the stuff that they do. But if you can have a rotation of paddocks and you can have crops mixed in with pasture land and like farm that way,
yeah,
I just think for the longevity of the farm, like something I read or heard, the soil in America in these monocrop areas, like is it Idaho or wherever they're like I think they grow corn or maize or something, and every year it's the same crop,
yep,
year after year
yep,
after year after year, and they till the soil, they spray it with Monsantos, whatever
yep,
the latest thing is to keep the bugs away, because the bugs know what's coming because it's the same every year, and they reckon they might only have like 2 or 3 more crops left in.
and even
like
then they have to fertilize every year anyway.
To make
get
it
anything to grow.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw a great movie at the Melbourne Film Festival, which just finished here. It was called Wilding, and it was about that, but in England. Exactly the same. English farmers, the young couple had inherited this estate, which is, you know, okay, they're obviously privileged to start from, but it had a castle on it.
Oh,
but
nice.
It was very much that same monocrop, trying to grow things on it. Every year the government would subsidise them to buy herbicide and then subsidise them to fertilise it, and there was just no biomass in the land, in the ground. It was just dead soil.
Yeah. Well, apparently they reckon like a massive percentage of the US is that's the soil. That's what they're dealing with.
And so what they did is they decided they didn't want to do that anymore, and all the farmers around them kicked up a stink, but they said, we're just going to wild this place. We're going to bring back the beef that used to be on the land around here and let them walk around. We're going to bring back deer, we're going to bring back pigs, that, you know, like the original kind of ones that would furrow the ground and do.
Yes, yeah, do pig things.
And they just spent, and so this is like over a few decades, this land just recovered to this amazing wilderness that's full of like really endangered birds and butterflies and insects that you just don't get elsewhere in the area.
Yeah, right.
It was really inspiring, and you know, there's ways forward for the world, but I don't think monocrops and factory farms, I don't think are it. And
nah.
Sooner or later we should hopefully put those to bed.
Yeah, and I get it's probably a more expensive way to farm, but you know, considering that most factory farm stuff goes into ultra processed foods, so
yeah,
you just look at how much we consume as a nation. Like,
yeah,
you know, you don't even have to get in your car to go and get a takeout meal anymore. You just pick up your phone, open an app, and you get, you know, enter fast food company here delivered straight to your door.
Yep. And so there's not even the exercise of walking out.
No, you didn't even get that, you know, 28 steps to get to the car and then 28 steps to come back inside.
I always just think of that movie Wall-E. Do you remember it? Where all the humans are on these spaceships flying around in space, and they just basically living in a totally managed environment where they get entertainment on their screens, food delivered through tubes, and they're just all fat and have lost all interest in life. And it's like, do they know something at Pixar that we don't?
Yeah, and put that out. When was that, in the 90s or something?
That was a long time ago now.
I remember seeing it, but I don't remember what was in it.
And it's, you know, it's kind of like I think we're in this point where some people are choosing not to go in that path, but unfortunately the mass of humanity seems to be, in the developed world, seem to be going that way, in health issues and diabetes, all that stuff. It's just taking off like crazy.
Yeah, and it's easy for me to, you know, it's like throwing rocks at glass houses for me, because I was on the opposite side of the health fence. Yeah, so I had fatty liver, a cholesterol level of 16.3, type 2 diabetes, and then I ended up getting cancer. So all within kind of, like I know, like in my decade of trying to be the world's best entrepreneur, I knew that I was getting metabolically unhealthy, and I knew I was getting fat, and I knew that I was getting unfit, and I just let a poor lifestyle. I chose business over everything else, and and it's like everything now. If I could, I would give up everything that I have to go back 20 years.
Yeah.
And have another crack.
Have another crack at that healthy, vibrant person.
Because like you can be. It's funny. The GP that saw me the day that I thought I was having a heart attack, and he was the one who sent me out to get a blood panel done because I'd never had bloods done. He said to me, he goes, "There's no point being the richest guy in the graveyard."
Yeah.
And that's something that stuck.
It's a goodie. It's a goodie.
And then I started moving. I was allergic to metformin, which was a godsend because the health department, once you become a diabetic, you get your diabetic show bag with your freebies and all this shit. And part of it was a webinar with the Department of Health. And they're going, oh, you can't reverse diabetes, you'll be on medication for your life, and blah, blah, blah. Like, never talked about lifestyle.
Diet.
Never talked about root cause, never talked about anything.
That's so mixed up.
And that's where everyone who's pre-diabetic or diabetic goes to these things. And it wasn't until they put me on the said medication, which was metformin, and I was allergic to it. I had massive big welts, and like I had an instant, like severe allergic reaction to it. And there wasn't anything else at the time that, there wasn't the Ozempics, and there wasn't, there's now a couple of different medications that they can use to treat diabetes. And so I was left to go into Dr. Google and go, how do you manage diabetes without metformin? And then I started finding all these reversing diabetes pages. And I'm like, wait a minute. They said you can't reverse diabetes, I've got it for life. And then start reading about it. And for me, so when I get my quarterly bloods done, my HbA1c for the 90 days says that I'm not diabetic, but I know through wearing a CGM that I'm very much insulin resistant.
Right.
So I've still got to be mindful of, like, I know if I have carbs or if I have sugar, it spikes my level, and it takes, like, compared to you, it would take a lot longer for because I don't have the insulin levels that you do, it takes a lot longer for my blood sugars to go back down after eating that kind of food.
Yeah.
So I would say I'm definitely insulin resistant, but I don't think I'm officially type 2 diabetic, but in the eyes of the Department of Health, I'll always be type 2 diabetic.
Yeah, because they don't believe that it's reversible. I mean, there's a whole story there around pharmaceutical interests and, not the knowledge that people should have about their own health that should be given to them at school around nutrition and health lifestyle choices, and how dangerous cortisol is. We just don't get told.
No,
we just don't get told. It's all like get your nose to the grindstone and go.
Yeah.
And wake up at some point, and you'll have a heart attack, or you'll have get diabetes or whatever it might be. Stress related stuff, and then people either wake up or they don't, or they wake up dead.
Yeah. I know, man. Cortisol's a big one too. And in between getting sick and getting cancer, which was about 12 months, I went through a period where I'd sold a business, and a lot of it was wrapped up in vendor finance. So public service announcement, don't ever sell your business with vendor finance attached to it. No matter how good the offer is. And that, man, that put me in I spent maybe 2 months where I couldn't eat, I couldn't operate.
So much stress.
Yeah, and I was just trying to work out how, because ultimately that was, I think in real terms it was about $1 million, and I hadn't spent it, but I'd planned. I had big plans on what the next thing was, and then all of a sudden I just get this notice from a liquidator going, oh, the dude that you sold the business to has just handed the company into us, and and I was their biggest debtor. And there was just none of the assets, because it was attached to an event brand. They blew the event brand up by selling tickets and then not being able to run the events. And so it's
the
not like
value
I
is
could
gone.
even, everything, there was
I know.
assets, but unless you could run events, they weren't assets.
So much of those IP businesses, right? It's like there's so much held in your reputation and in what you've achieved to date, and then someone picks it up and then they trash it. It's so easy to trash it because they think they're buying some sort of where they, I don't know, sit back and watch it make money, but not deliver on what they've, what the customer's looking for, and then suddenly the values just starts tanking.
And so do you have ties to Melbourne?
Yeah, so my son's here studying at the uni, and then my daughter and son-in-law moved over here because they couldn't make it work in New Zealand, like financially, couldn't afford a house, and if they got a house they'd end up with a massive mortgage. The pay rates were too low for him to
so it wasn't the house price versus Melbourne house prices, it was the earning.
Well, it was that as well. At the time it was a lot more expensive in Auckland than Melbourne.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I never would have picked that.
yeah.
And then you've got the other end of too, you can probably earn more in Melbourne than you can in Auckland.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's both sides, and cost of living as well, petrol prices, the whole. So they said, no, let's move over, and we've had one grandkid who was born over in New Zealand, and they moved here with them.
Okay.
They just had another one, so we went, come on, let's go live in Melbourne for a while.
Yeah, nice. And so that was how long ago?
6 months.
Yeah, right. And has it been, how long were you in NZ for?
In my life? My whole life.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I've travelled a lot, but never lived anywhere else. So this is quite a cool experience to actually go, hey, let's go live somewhere else and just see how that goes.
And how's your tie-in with the XR workout? Like, how did you get involved with that?
So Alex and I have known each other. He's basically my cousin.
Right.
Since I was babysitting him.
Yeah, right.
And we've kind of always pushed each other along in technology and gadgets and
So you're a bit of a tech head?
Yeah, not compared to like a Joe or someone like that, but I just always enjoyed technology. Yeah. And I've always enjoyed.
And an early adopter of it?
Yeah, early adopter, finding out what's happening.
To me.
And so Alex had been over to stay with us in New Zealand, and over the years he talked about this program, and then after I got out of Lord of the Fries and we closed that down, it was like, oh, okay, now I've got some space in my life. Let's and I'd already been doing workouts in the app and had the headsets and everything like that, so I said, let's get involved. And it's it's been really cool. I've been learning a lot about the different B2B and B2C that they're looking at. Yep. And especially in the medical world, which is really interesting opportunity to deliver exercises to occupational therapists or physiotherapists, where they can build their own workout for their patients, be in their office, monitor if that patient's done it, how they've done it, be in the same virtual space with them, encouraging them.
Without them having to come in.
Without them having to come in. And suddenly, obviously, for the physiotherapist, that
and can the physio upload stuff into the system, or is it something?
What we're building, which is actually one of our moats or one of our uniques, is that you can build your own custom workouts using whatever part of the body or whatever cues are built in. So if you want to do push-ups with a side plank, or if you want to do run a whole lot of only arm movements, you can build a workout, upload that, and that becomes customized workout.
So it's almost like a library where they go, if they're trying to rehab a calf strain, they can pick the exercises for rehab based on that.
And then add in rest, and then obviously with the dashboard they can see, once you've got a heart rate monitor on there, you can see that they've actually done the exercise. If that's part of it, the cardio is part of it, you can monitor that. You can see how many times they hit the cues, if it's an arm, and what strength they use to hit those cues. So if they're kicking with their leg or pushing with their arm, you can start to actually get really great information.
So it gives them good data.
And for the physio, this is the bit that I would be excited if I was a physio. You can suddenly take a lot more patients because your clinic time, you're not having to do all these blocks of time in your office. You actually can have multiple
So
people.
it becomes fluid, like virtual.
Yeah.
Where
and you don't have to necessarily be in every workout, but you might jump in every now and then and give someone some encouragement. But most of the time you're saying, okay, here's your headset, you've got to do this every day. Yeah. I'll be checking on my dashboard, and you can, instead of them having to come in and you have to do stuff, you've got them working on that part of it.
and so as a as a clinician, you could allocate like 10 or 15 minutes to each of your patients a day just to jump in and check on their progress and go through the data. And then realistically, it's just an email or like it's just, hey, just jumped in, maybe try this. I've swapped out a little bit of your program to match.
I've upgraded, I've moved you, you're doing well, so I'm just going to push you a little bit harder. And then still, obviously you'd still have the in-person, you'd still want to come in and check.
Well, maybe definitely the original one would be, but like so I've been getting treatment for this shoulder impingement with the physio.
Yeah.
And it is very much like I only go and see her once a month. But
you have a list of things you're supposed to do in between, right?
Yeah, and it's not like, it's just, oh, hey, grab a band, do this, do that. But if I've got issues, it's not very, how would you call it? Like integrative. It's like, I can't give her live feedback on what, like, so recently, because I had a cortisone shot. And so I had the cortisone, which just allowed her to work on it and for me to be able to do some exercises, because before that it was just so pissed off and inflamed that it wasn't letting me do anything.
Yeah. I've been down the same road. I've had cortisone in my shoulders.
Yeah, right. So I was working on stuff and it felt like it was getting a little bit better, not as good as what I wanted, but now that it's kind of been 2 months post the cortisone, it's starting to get that pissed off. And so when I was doing the band workout, it would really piss it off. And then I'd deal with it for the next 12 hours. And it's that, you know, like if I, like in the instance with me with her, I'd have to ring, get a receptionist, leave a message. Like try
and find an appointment or try and get a call
back,
and
then she can't tell me if I'm doing something wrong, because like it might be that I was doing the band wrong, like because she showed me a month ago, and maybe something's just you know, I've changed the angle, or maybe I'm doing it with too much tension, or like this is what I love about the idea of her being able to jump in and get the data of the stuff I've been doing when I find out there's an issue, and she can kind of troubleshoot it.
And you know, obviously this is bleeding edge sort of technology, and there's so much that's going to come down in terms of what the camera can record of my body. Like at the moment with the new Quest 3, it's got full color cameras all around the outside, so it can see your whole body, whereas the Quest 2 couldn't see your whole body. It can see your hands, but not your legs and so on. So and the Apple Vision Pro, you know, they're very much full body scan. So as that moves along, it's just going to become more and more. And in terms of the other part is the avatars. So what represents me in that virtual space will develop, and it's been developing really quickly into far more lifelike and realistic representations, rather than sort of early days it was kind of cartoony, you know, like a bobblehead sort of thing.
Something that the kids would like, but
but not that great. You know, you going to board meetings and things when you're represented by a Daffy Duck or something. You know what I mean?
Where now, I guess, and this is where we've referenced Joe Millwood a couple of times. Joe's a kid I went to school with. I used to live in the front yard of his cousin's place in a caravan.
Is that right?
Yes, and I used to, like, I was a bit of a basketball star at school, and all the young basketballers used to love, like, you know, idolize me because I was pretty decent, and I was early. So I was playing basketball before basketball got popular, and then when it got popular, I was playing state and was at quite a high level.
Wow.
So Joe was one of those little basketball kids, and so I've known Joe forever. He's always telling me about all the AR and VR and like what they can do with virtual avatars, and like it's amazing the stuff. And he's kind of my go-to, where I'll have a business idea, but I'll flick it to him and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Is there a way that we can tech it up or have a tech version? And sometimes there's stuff that we do that doesn't allow for it. He'll just go, oh, no, not really. But then I think that's how I got connected with you guys, is that I wanted to create, now that Search for Hertz back on television, and we get access, we're doing this pre-season thing, and we're going to be talking to strength and conditioning coaches and athletes and doing all this. I wanted to create a program called, and we registered Train Like, where
that's right.
Where you can choose to train like a rugby player, train like a basketballer, train like Wolverine, train like whatever, like enter thing here. So for me, my brief on it was that it's like a mastermind, but for fitness. So we can work with fitness influencers. They can create, like once we create their avatar and grab their voice, then all they've got to do is when they want to update their programs is just write the prompts.
Yep.
Like throw their program in, and their avatar and their voice will turn it into something where it feels like you're training with them. And so, yeah, and then so I think that's how, long way round, Joe connected me up with Alex, and then Alex connected me up to you. Yeah, and it was, so my idea is like the have you seen the mastermind program that has like Tony Robbins and Gary Vee and all of these?
Oh yeah.
So it's a rev share model.
Yeah.
So for me, like I don't even care what the split is. I just want to get people moving and having a bit of fun. But like we could sit down with Liam Hemsworth or who's Wolverine? The boy from Oz. I'll remember his name. And he can do a program based on how he trains for something specific. But then everybody, so for my idea is that everyone starts their fitness program on a Monday. So on Sunday night, you've got the app. The app prompts you to say, hey, here's your token. Who are you going to train like next week? Who do you want to train like
this week?
And then if someone drops their token into Wolverine's bucket, or it could be an ex-footy player or AFL player, like that weekly, so if it's $25 a week or whatever the number is, it's a 50-50 split between the app and the talent.
Yep.
Then it's in their vested interest to promote it.
You get punted around on a boat out here.
Yeah, wow. What's it? Oh, it's like a gondola.
Yeah. Melbourne's own gondola.
Yeah. Venice Beach. Oh no, what is it? It's
just Venice.
Venice.
Without the beach.
Yeah, Venice. So that was the whole train like thing, was a rev share, like a mastermind. And we could kind of tie it in with the show, so we could go and train with these cool athletes, but then while we're there, record everything that we need for their program. And then once it's kind of in the platform, they can just every month or something just send us an update to their program, and we just have their avatar present it. But yeah, there is the whole.
And do you see that as an XR VR thing, or more?
Oh, for sure. No. It has to have a headset. But see, this is where I wanted to speak to you on headset adoption.
Yep.
So Joe assures me, because he goes, the headset, got to get you. And I'm like, I don't need a headset, dude. Like, there's nothing else I would use it for. And he's like, oh no, like everybody's going to have headsets and it's going to be, but I'm like, that for me is because it's such a pivotal, like you can't do what you guys are building without a headset.
Without the adoption of the headsets.
Yeah. So how do you see the adoption of headsets and VR?
So it's been, it has been slow, and Meta have obviously thrown a lot of energy into it, and it hasn't got to a tipping point for sure. But with Apple entering the market, obviously with a entry point which was way too high for average consumer, but that's what they do, right?
Yeah. That's the Apple way.
They'll bring down the consumer stuff before you know it, and with the development of AR goggles, AR glasses.
Yeah.
It is just a matter of time. I mean, some of the things you can do with them, like if you're catching a plane, rather than having to deal with the environment in there, you stick a headset on, watch a movie, read a book, in that virtual world rather than inside a tin can.
Yes, yeah.
Hospitals obviously is one that's really interesting at the moment. There's a company called Raya, and what they do is they provide headsets to long-term hospital patients.
Yep.
Because it's pretty depressing to be sitting in a hospital room.
Yeah.
So they can strap it on and go on a virtual journey through Paris or through Venice.
Yeah.
Gaming.
Yeah, and I think, look at that, beautiful.
It's gorgeous, right?
Imagine what this land would be worth. I often think of that when we go to...
There's the entrepreneur.
Yeah. Or whenever I go to the zoo with the kids at Taronga, I'm there going, man, how would you put a price on this block of land? But so in that instance, is this where your business model with XR Workout, like when we talk about allied health professionals using it, it would be that they would have a number of headsets in that they would use? So there's a subscription
model there, obviously, which could be, headset and use of the app.
Yeah.
Like again, a rev share sort of thing where they're provided with a really simple internal user interface
Yeah.
that allows them to just select the apps they want without all the rest of the meta games. It's like an Apple App Store sort of thing. It gets pretty full on if you're not in that world, and so they provide that and put that on, and that allows a much simpler uptake for customers.
Yeah, right. And is that so? With the subscription model, or with the program that's for home workouts,
Yeah.
will you just target people who have already got glasses, or will your offering be that you can also rent headsets out as well? Is that part of the business model?
It's not in the plan at the moment. It's very much for those consumers who are already, there's multiple hundreds of millions of headsets out there already.
When you're marketing, if you're
It doesn't really matter like where they are, if you know what I mean, because it's not location based. So
Nah.
if you're selling an app on the App Store,
Yeah.
people can buy. I mean, there are some.
Oh, for sure.
There are
And I
some
guess
that
for
are-
you, you'd fish where the fish are, right? Like, you're better off if you're doing marketing or advertising, you want to advertise in the place that's got the most headsets.
Yes, which obviously would
Would be
North
the
America.
States. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are some App Store fitness programs that are geolocated purely in the country. Like there's some that you can't get out of the States. You can only buy them in the App Store in America.
Oh, okay.
Which is like Apple, they do something similar.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is, the game for us at XR Workout is about being in front. Yes, the headsets are still big. Yes, not they're highly adopted, but if you want to be in on that, when that curve starts to shoot up,
Yeah.
you need to have it really well developed and
So it's kind of
understand
like first to market, first mover advantage,
yeah, all
that
that.
kind of thing.
So one of the latest things that's happened is XR Workout's going to be preloaded on the new HTC headsets.
Oh,
So
cool.
that'll be one of the launch apps.
Ah, right.
HTC is not a big
So
brand over
the
here,
glasses come with preloaded apps.
but with it, yeah.
Ah, right.
And XR Workout will be one of those for that launch.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I mean that's.
And so you're already live, like people are already using it.
Oh yeah. There's a subscription base. There's, a lot of people on it. There's leaderboards and competitions and
Yeah.
group workouts. That's one of the. If we want to talk about like more globally again about
Yeah, for sure.
fitness, I just believe that because it's why gyms are
Is that
still
getting
existing.
uncomfy?
No, I'm just
feeling-
noticing the sweat and
Oh, no, I
it's
thought-
definitely working. Definitely
Yes,
working.
It definitely, it's designed to make your walking more meaningful.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Yeah, I just believe that, and this is something that's come out of my design school and been involved in things. Humans are social animals, and so working out purely alone, if you know what I mean, like getting us a bunch of weights at home and working out is fine. Some guys that works for, but a lot of people want some sort of social interaction and want to be part of a class, want to be part of a group.
Yeah.
And one of the great things about it that we've done with XR Workout is had that group workout built in from the start. So you can get a bunch of your friends
Hey, puppy.
or an organised group and all jump on wherever you are in the world
Yeah.
and do a workout together. Live voice. Your avatars obviously are the ones that are doing the workout, not your actual.
Yes. Yeah.
But
And so is that in an organised class scenario, or is that
at the moment,
like I can ping my mate that's over in the US and say, hey, let's jump into a class?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
And then you can build a custom workout for that class, or you can, set up just use one of the pre-made workouts.
Yeah.
Easy, medium, hard, or you can, and I'll chuck you in one when we get back. Or you can build a custom one that, like I said, you can chuck in way too many burpees for for fun to see what happens to your mates.
Gotta love burpees.
Yeah. Yeah. It's supposed to be the ultimate exercise.
Yeah, we used to, back in the day, because we were on ESPN before I got sick, we had the show on ESPN. And we had we had a magazine and we had a podcast back then before podcasts were even really a thing. But one of the things we used to ask all of the elite athletes that we would train with is like, if you could prescribe one exercise,
Yep.
like a body weight exercise, what would it be? And 99.9% of them said burpees.
Yeah.
They reckon if that's the only thing that you could physically do, that from an overall fitness perspective is your best your best movement.
So with the XR workout, it says, you know, get in burpee position, which is down. So, and then the cues come. So you got to hit one with your head, and then the other two with your hands. And so you're down on the ground. Your head one comes low. You hit that, and then you've immediately got to jump up and jump in the air and get your head above normal, and your hands up there.
All right.
And that's then you get the points, if you know what I mean.
Ah, so there's the whole gamification thing of it. Yeah.
Which is obviously the other part, and you know the leaderboard, and also the amount of points you get as you go through depending on how hard you hit some of the things.
Oh,
so if your cues are coming in, you've got to be hitting them.
Yeah.
If you're just tapping them, you get, you know.
But if you hit them with force,
which of course means your cardio is going to go up as well.
Yeah, right. Very interesting.
Yeah, but I reckon. I mean, I was thinking about obviously Search for Herd and having watched some of your shows and just how much pain you put those poor buggers through. But they're all Fitspos, so
yeah,
I don't want to feel too sorry for them.
They're the fittest everyday people we can find.
Yeah. It would be awesome to put them into a headset and have them, because they get the points, you know, and depending on how they've gone with it, you'll already get a winner and a loser based on a hard workout you've built.
Yep.
And they'll be able to see it. You know, you can do a live leaderboard while each person's going through the process.
Yeah,
so
right.
You can have an audience watching.
And would you design a specific one, or just have them go through the existing ones that are in there?
No, design a specific one.
Yeah, right.
You want to search for her.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
yeah, we just don't want to search for a little bit of sweat.
Yeah, but it'd be pretty cool, because obviously the points are going up, and if they're not hitting them hard enough, then someone else will get ahead of them. So
yeah, and that'd be cool for our community to be able to compare scores against our guys as well.
That's right, actually. Yeah, that would be very cool. They could,
especially because then they would have to buy a headset and get XR workout.
That's like a win-win-win right there.
Oh, right. So in regards to headsets, like what cost do you? I know when they first come out they were stupidly expensive. Like most tech things, have they come down in price?
Yeah. I mean, and it's like iPhones basically. Generationally, obviously the 17 or the 16 or whatever's just come out is up 2.8. But then as that releases, all the other prices drop.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Quest 3, which is the latest one, is about $1,000. That's with a good chunk of memory on board, and it's got colour pass through, which means that you can look at the world and it's in full colour. You look through the headset, so you'll see that in a minute in that one. And then the Quest 2, which is the one before it, black and white pass through, with much less sensors, is only about $400 or $500 now.
Yeah.
It still can do the workout thing, because they're not super graphic, they're not super intense on the processor. So.
Yeah.
And then of course you got the Apple Vision Pro, which is that really expensive beast. And I went and got a demo of one of those at the Apple store, and they're pretty awesome.
Oh yeah. And what are they running for?
They run at like $3,500 or something stupid.
Look at that. That's a cool. And so, how do you log your time? Is it an app thing, or is it Strava?
That's a good question.
I'd be interested to see if someone knows how this poll works, because I'm. Oh yeah, there's the para. Yeah, look at that. That's unreal.
It's brilliant, eh?
So cool.
And I think there's, here we go, it'll tell us on here, won't it? That's it there.
To view, runthetan.net. There you go. That's unreal. Double-sided. Woo, 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 woo. Lovely.
There's some crazy times.
Yeah, I bet.
You think about it.
That's like 11:31 for 3. What is it?
3.6
Ks. Yeah, that's decent.
It's under 3 minutes, isn't it? Okay. I could do that from here to the lamppost, maybe.
Yeah. This one here would be for me.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a sprinter.
Yeah, when you see those Olympics, marathon runners, and then you realise what speed they're running at.
Yeah. Yeah,
and have you seen those?
They
gags?
do those big treadmills.
Yeah,
they're so cool.
Okay, run as fast as a marathon runner. The guys last a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and they get spat out the back.
They now do it for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so, how many users have you got at the moment? Like, is it a big community?
Yeah, it's big. It's grown all the time. It's like, Alex would be the best one to get the latest numbers from, and whether he believes it's commercially sensitive as well, I'm not sure.
Oh yes.
But it's it's well populated, and there's there's a good community. Like there's a Discord community.
Yep.
It comes, you get a front end, so you got a browser that logs all your workouts you've done, keeps track of your performance.
Yep.
I lock it. I link it to my Whoop, and so it gets my heart rate.
Yep.
But you can link it to any of those.
And it gives you your strain and all that sort of stuff.
Well, this does. But the app just shows while I'm doing it. It just records what your heart rate get up to.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess it'd be a good like if you could do a baseline fitness test. So like if every month you could do a test and then you'd have the raw data, especially if you can connect it to your wearable and just know how you're improving, kind of like what a beep test used to be.
Yeah.
But you could do a more active.
I mean, well, you could do that now. You just choose this.
You just pick the same one each time. Yeah.
Non-custom workout.
Yeah.
Or you can make a custom one and just choose that one again in a month. So we're at the back at the start.
So that's the car down there.
What I was going to just share about the other part, the B2B piece, which is quite aligned to what you were talking about Trainlike.
Yep.
Is the personal trainer platform. So we're developing a personal trainer platform that, similar to the occupational therapists or the physios.
Yep.
The personal trainer builds the workout, delivers it to his clients remotely. They all come on for a workout, and he takes them through it.
Yeah, right. And is it easy to build out from his perspective? Like if I'm a PT and I want to...
It's super easy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, it's custom workout. It's already there in the app, usable.
Yep.
It's just bringing him in as a PT. I mean, he could come in now as a participant.
Yeah.
And just stand there and talk to his... But we want to make it more elegant than that and more...
Yeah, right. And who's doing your programming at the moment for the stuff that's already in there?
So one of the co-owners is Michael from Germany, and his backstory is pretty interesting because his father had a heart attack when he was 41, and it was a genetic, slightly hereditary thing that theoretically, a little bit like your diabetes.
Yeah.
It's probably going to happen to you, sort of thing. And he went on a mission to say, no, it's not.
Yeah, right.
Screw that.
I'm going to beat genetics.
And he, like a lot of people, I guess, doesn't like, going to the gym and pushing weights by himself. And it was because he's a programmer and a tech head, he just started to realise the opportunity available in the VR XR world, and decided to write this. And that's when Alex and him met and got involved. And I've been working on it since. There's a whole organisation. Obviously, there's other programmers, but he's the lead, and he's the main creative. But we've got game developers on board now who are bringing a new look and feel to it. And it's going to be launched soon.
The gamification side of it as well.
Yeah, just making it a little bit more elegant.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing what he's achieved in terms of the mechanics, which is the hardest thing. Now it's about skinning it over and making it look really sexy.
So cool.
This is where we're supposed to do the Rocky thing.
Yeah. So with the headset and working out, is there any disadvantage to doing it outside?
Well, we're about to find out because I'm going to put it on you outside. I've done it outside before. The previous ones were more susceptible to sunlight than the current ones.
Yeah, right. That's all I was thinking, is that, for me, the more stuff I can do outside,
100%,
the better. Especially here, man, this would be a perfect little spot.
Yeah.
Nice grassed area.
Yeah.
You get your grounding in at the same time.
It's so interesting you say that, because we've got our grandson and we brought him up here. We all got our shoes off and we ground up in the domain all the time, because there's just so much good stuff in the air and in the earth when you're around a lot of plants.
Yeah, well, the podcast I recorded before this is with an osteo, Lisa, and I do she's a bit of a health hacker.
Yeah.
And so I'm a bit of her guinea pig, so to speak. But every other week we catch up and we just pick one subject. So yes, when did I meet up with her? Monday morning it was circadian rhythms. And so we just go for a ruck and we have a chat and we just do a massive deep dive as to what she's learnt, what I've learnt. We have a bit of a conversation about it, and every other week.
I was going to buy one of those circadian alarm clocks, that glow.
Yeah.
Sun. I mean, are they good?
Oh, I don't know. I tend to wake up like even whether it's daylight savings or not, like I always tend to wake up when my circadian's set about half an hour before the sun rises.
Right.
I just naturally get up.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's probably a bird chirps or like there'd be something that kind of
Triggers it.
But
Yeah.
my body knows that it's time to get up. And like this morning, I was in, where did I stay? Down in Yass or somewhere. And like same thing, it would have been almost, I could set my clock to it, that it would be half an hour before the sun was about to rise. But what I want to do, this is where the whole circadian thing, like the best thing to do is to go outside and get your first light to be natural light.
Yeah, that's what they
say.
say.
But when it's dark, like, so it's dark when I get up, and I usually get half an hour of just jumping on and doing some admin.
Which is not what you're supposed to do.
No, well, it's not ideal. I wear my blue blocker glasses and stuff, so I'm doing it the best way I can. But I said to her, I'm like, that's my prime time in the morning when no one's awake.
Yeah.
I just get to dive in, and I always tend to do the stuff I don't like doing, like the admin, the zero.
Swallow the frog.
Yeah, just first thing in the morning, and then it's just out of the way, and then the rest of the day when the sun's up and I want to be going for a ruck or standing out with my shoes off having a coffee in the backyard, getting some sunlight or doing whatever it is I want to do, I just know that the shitty stuff on my day's been taken care of.
What I tend to do that early morning, that sort of 5 a.m. club stuff is like, and my wife and I, we have this deal where like we stay out of each other's spaces during that 2 or 3 hour period.
Oh yeah.
Because you got the whole day later to deal.
Yeah.
So it's the meditation, 5 rotes, yoga.
So you get into all that?
Yeah. And it's some form of exercise.
And is that usually an XR workout? Like how often are you putting
I'm doing the XR workouts in the evenings at the moment because I'm jumping on a group workout with the rest of the team.
Yes,
So they're up in the northern hemisphere.
Different hours, yeah.
Yeah. So at 7 p.m. I jump on with them.
Yep.
But every now and then I jump in the XR to do one in there if it's wet outside or I don't want to do anything else. But I remember down at Sweatshop as well. So we go down there, so we do a Pilates on a certain day and then resistance training,
mix it up a little
circuits,
bit. Yep.
Which is really important now, they tell me.
Yeah, well,
get the testosterone re-triggered and it actually feels really good. Like when we moved over here, there was a period where, because I'd left my gym in New Zealand was called Ludus Magnus, and it was this great group community gym, basically in a grungy basement, but really super inviting and fun, and it was all body based and kettlebells pretty much.
Okay.
So a lot of burpees and a lot of lunges and squats and then runs and then swings and all that sort of stuff. But when I came over here, kind of obviously it wasn't going anywhere, so there's a few months where I was like going backwards and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And at our age, it's not as quick to...
Nah, you lose it pretty quick,
Yeah.
And so you were pretty active in NZ too? Like you've always been pretty active?
Yeah, I mean, I've always done lots of sports. I was a rower for a long time, which was really good. It's insane.
We're back at the beast. It looks like something out of Tron.
Yeah, that's what I get. Tron. Me, I always say Akira as well. I don't know if you remember that anime driving around on motorbikes.
Yeah, that looks wicked.
You're gonna get a bit of background noise here with that guy.
Shad. It's all right. All right, well, let's have a look at your thing. I'll dump my stuff.
We'll head somewhere over into the shade or somewhere over there, and I'll get away from this guy doing his blower.
All right, there's another Rucking Good episode in the books. Hopefully you liked it, and if you did, feel free to share it around and throw us a like and subscribe if you so wish to. If you would like to see or be a guest on Rucking Good, please drop me an email to team@rucksack.com. And until then, we'll catch you on another episode.